Season 1, Round of 10. Africa TV, Breakup Studio Live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the round of 10 in the GSL Code S. The first time we've had a round of 10. I'm interested in seeing how this section of the tournament goes.
Yeah, it's a very different format, so we will be holding your hands throughout it and trying to explain with some graphics and stuff exactly what's going on. I guess it'll be like a little bit harder to follow than the group phases that we've had for 12 years at this point, but it'll be fresh at least.
Yes, it's good to mix it up a little bit here. We're going to be going through 5 best of 3s to start this off, but we won't be able to draw any conclusions just yet as we end day 1. And then as we go into the second day of the round of 10, we'll be doing Group B. This is going to be Group A to start things off.
That's right. Here's a little bit of information for you. So today's group will finish up next week. It's best of 3s and round robin format. As you can see, there are different tiebreakers here, and if everyone ties in 6 different ways, if three players tie in 6 different ways, then we get a coin toss. I don't think we'll ever reach that, but that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens when we get there, but you know, it's same GSL, but we're trying to kind of liven up the middle part here of the tournament and kind of change the pacing of stuff and see how this goes. And I guess we'll see if we keep this in the next year or not. But, you know, a change that's welcome, I would say.
Yeah, by the way, a couple new maps as well. And by new maps, I mean old maps, Nautilus 2 and Golden Wall, both being brought back in. Getting rid of a couple of the maps that we've had in here for a while. So just trying to keep it fresh like that. I'm actually kind of excited to see Golden Wall again. It gave us some interesting stuff. Like Zerg bases in the top left and top right that couldn't be attacked no matter what you did.
So that too.
It'll be interesting to see that play out again.
I do think Golden Wall did make for some fun games, especially some early game games. So, you know, those are some welcome additions here as well.
Indeed it is. Group A that we're going to be having today, Rogue, RagnaroK, Trap, ByuN, and Ryung. Very interesting group. Group B, Dark, Maru, Creator, DRG Hero. Do you have a group that you like more than the other?
I think they're both good, man. I'm especially excited for Creator in Group B here. You know, he performed extremely well. And, you know, we do have a bit of repetition with the players that come out on top. You know, and oftentimes they are Zergs in GSL. But, you know, when you see somebody like that who's been grinding for over a decade and, you know, his dreams of, you know, playing in a grand finals and maybe winning here for a GSL, that's always a fun story. But I think both these groups are awesome. We're going to have a quick interview, guys, and we're going to start.
Right, GSL is having its 13th year now, but now the full league system is brought back to us after 10 years. So I'm sure the players have a mixed feeling of nervousness and excitement. So we're going to have an interview with the 5 players who will be kicking off the opening day of the round of 10. And this group consists of 2 Terrans, 2 Zergs, and 1 Protoss. So we're going to have an interview with Rogue, RagnaroK, Trap, ByuN, and Ryung. Hello. Hello. Alright, let's check how the atmosphere is like in Group A. Alright, who thinks this group is really good for them? Who thinks this group is a happy group? Please put up your hand. Alright, Trap, Rogue. Alright, 2 players putting up their hand. Alright, here comes the question. Rogue, you put up your hand. Why did you put up your hand? Well, you know, I had to look at the 10 members in the round 10. As for the tier list, you know, if I was to choose between Trap and Maru, I would choose Trap. And if I had to choose between ByuN and this other player, I would choose ByuN. So I think this group is the best for me. Right, Ryung, you put up your hand also. You said this group is a satisfactory one for you, so why? Well, you know, in-game aspect, I'm not really too happy about it. But, you know, having a look at Rogue, I think I'm gonna win. You know, if every time I look at Rogue, I have a really happy feeling and a good feeling. And in I Am Katowice, you lost to Rogue, and that must have hurt for you. I mean, it did hurt.
자, 신이범 선수 이야기 들어보겠습니다.
Right, Ragnarok.
손을 안 드셨는데
You did not put up your hand.
선수 표현으로는 저그전 맛이 갔다 하시고
But
또
according to
김동원
ByuN,
선수 IM에서 아쉽게도 이
and according to Ryung, ByuN says that his TVZ is not looking good, and Ryung also. So what do you think about that, Ragnarok?
네, 테라는 마음에 들어요.
그럼 누가
Well, you know, I'm happy to play against Terrence in my group.
아이 그 뒤에 분들은 그 테라는
Well, the players sitting behind me, they're easy prey for me.
앞에 그 성호 형이랑
But the players sitting in front, Rogue and Trap,
강한 선수랑 먼저
they are pretty strong players. They're formidable.
저는 마음에 들어요.
But you know, as for the group, I'm pretty pleased with it. So Trap, you also put up your hand. The sole Protoss in this group.
멤버를 봤을 때
You know, having a look at the members,
1등은 모르겠지만
I'm not sure who the first place is gonna be, but I think I will definitely belong in the top 3 of this group. All right, Trap. ByuN, you said that your TVZ is pretty screwed right now. So have you been working on it?
세명 선수가 말했듯이 저희 두 명, 테란 두 명.
You know, as the players sitting in front have said,
하시는 것 같아가지고 뭐 그런 의미도 있고 동원이 형은 왜 그런지 모르겠지만
I'm not sure why Ryung put up his hand though.
앞에 세 선수가 다 자신 있어 하는 것 같아요.
The 3 players seem really confident though in this group. I think they really might be the top 3 in this group. And there seems to be quite a discrepancy between the players behind and the players sitting in front. Alright, Trap has always been quite the hot topic with his controversial interview regarding the racial balance in his prior interview. So are you looking forward to playing against ByuN, who you mentioned in the interview before?
첫 경기를 하는데
Well, the first match
재밌을 것 같아요.
is gonna be against him. I think it's gonna be a fun one.
문정태는 당연히 안 가도 다 막으니까 선수를 안 보내실 것 같고
You know, I think he's not gonna go for scouting because he said that against Protoss you don't need to scout.
조성우 선수가 1침을 날려주셨거든요.
Right,
정찰을
Trap.
안 해도 된다는 게 이게 말이 되냐 얘기를
You know,
하셨는데
Trap did mention that Trap mentioned how ByuN said he doesn't need to go scouting against Protoss. He's pretty angry about that.
포스는 그냥 정찰 안 가도 되거든요. 그리고 지금 밸런스에서
Well, ByuN reiterating the fact that against the Protoss you don't need to go scouting.
가도 안전한 종족이에요, 심지어. 근데 유일하게 성호만 정찰 오거든요. 약간
You know, Trap is the only Protoss player that actually goes for scouting.
근데 앞에 말했듯이 뭐 성호 자신 있다 했잖아요. 이게 말이 안 되는 것 같아요.
And as I mentioned before,
자신 있어요 하는 거 보면은
you know, him Trap having confidence against against the Terran player. It's quite fascinating to see actually.
끄덕끄덕하시던데 좀 얘기 좀 들어보고 싶어요. 같은 좀 마음이신 거예요?
So RagnaroK, what are your 2 cents on this?
그래서 유독 성호 형이 정찰 좀 꼼꼼히 하는 것 같아요.
You know, I think Trap is pretty
굳이 뭐 그럴 필요가 없는데
Trap places a lot of emphasis on scouting,
불리한 게 아닌가 싶기도 하고.
and I think that does put him at a disadvantage in the early game.
류ung과 짬이 있잖아요.
So Ryung, you're a veteran of this game,
도저히 이해가 안 된다 하는 선수 있으신가요?
and do you have a certain player that you don't understand why he has made it to round of 10? Yes, there is, and it is myself.
상황에서 좀 만족스러운 경기를 해가지고 오늘은 좀
In the round of 20, I've shown good performance, I think, in my standards.
하는데 그건 진짜 목숨 걸고 하겠다.
And today, in the battle against ByuN, I really want to win. I'm gonna win no matter what.
내가 지더라도 아까 손을 안 드셨는데 내가 이 선수만은 무조건
So RagnaroK, do you have a player in mind that you can win no matter what? You can beat no matter what? A walkover player?
저는 변님.
It's gotta be ByuN. I'm gonna say ByuN. Well, ByuN, the most popular one right now. So ByuN, do you have a player in mind that you can beat no matter what?
라그나코 령은 제가 이길 것 같거든요.
You know, honestly speaking, I think RagnaroK, ByuN, I think I can definitely win against those guys.
조성우
Not others though.
뭐 질서 있다는 거 인정하는데
I probably can't beat Trap and Rogue, but you know, RagnaroK and Ryung dissing me, I don't get it. Right, so before we wrap it up, how about you guys go around saying the final words before we get into the games?
솔직히 저는
Right, Rogue, you first.
1등은 모르겠고 3등하려면 제가
You know, I'm not sure about first place, but I think I can definitely place in top 3.
좀 약한 선수들이랑 먼저 해가지고
But I'm playing against those comparably weaker players in the earlier matches, so I think I should have a good momentum going forward. Right, RagnaroK.
저도 오히려 이게 강한 선수로 하면은 오히려 좀 편한 편한 게 있어가지고.
You know, I think when I go up against strong players, I feel pretty more relaxed and calm.
오늘 편하게 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
So I think today I can
자, 우리
play at ease.
이승준에서는 조성호 선수 얘기 들어볼게요.
Right, trap.
오늘 사실 무관중이라
Honestly, today I thought it was a match day without audience.
재밌을 것
So I was
같고요.
pretty surprised.
다음 주도 경기
I think the matches are going to be really fun
있으니까
today.
가겠습니다.
And there are still matches to continue on next week, so I'm going to have fun today. Right, ByuN?
다들 훌륭하신 선수들이고
Well, they are all very respectable players. They're really good.
훌륭한 선수들이랑 오늘 오랜만에 풀리가 하니까 또 제가 12년 그
You know, having the honor of playing against these respectable opponents is really good for me.
자격을 제가 오늘도 한번 힘내보도록
So I'm going to try my best in my matches. Right, Ryung?
오늘은 제가
The last one.
상대적으로 약한 선수인 만큼
Well, since I'm the weaker one out of the 5,
열심히 하도록
I'm going to try to play without regrets.
선수들과 인터뷰 여기서
Alright, so there was an interview with the 5 players in Group A. One player will move on to the round of 4 directly, 2 players will move on to the round of 6, and the remaining 2 will have to look forward to next season.
Excellent work as always, Andy. So there you have it, the thoughts of our final 10 players, well, 5 of the final 10 players here as we start Group A.
Yeah, and here are the matches we're going to be doing today. We're going to open up with a nice little Zerg vs. Zerg, followed up by Trap vs. ByuN. Then Rogue is going to play again, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to track this throughout and see where we're standing at the end of the day and who's really advantaged and who's not.
Yeah, we're going to get an idea of where this is going as we, get through the first week, but we are going to be oscillating from Group A to Group B and then back into Group A, then closing out Group B.
Yeah. All right. You have any idea of who you think is going to be top 3 here?
I mean, definitely Rogue. I think Trap's a very safe bet, but I'm not so sure about the 3rd spot. What do you think?
Well, I'm waiting to see how RagnaroK actually plays. Like, is he going to proxy hatchery every game, or does he have other stuff up his sleeves?
The way he got here was a little bit different than the way a lot of the other players advanced out of their groups. The stars did align quite a bit for RagnaroK, but, this is a great opportunity for him to try to, survive this part of the group stage. We're going to see what happens.
Well, he's going to have to really bring his A game here going up against Rogue. Definitely one of the very best players in the world still. And looking strong, of course, as is normally the case with Rogue. But also, like, Proxy Hatch doesn't really work in ZVC.
Yeah, yeah. It's not really a thing.
In fact, I'm fairly certain the last time that we saw Proxy Hatch ZVZ, if I'm remembering this correctly, was actually RagnaroK against Scarlet, and she didn't even know there was a Proxy Hatch because his macro was so bad.
Is that true?
Yeah, because I remember I told her afterwards, I'm like, did you know he had a hatch that was producing lings on the side? And she's like, what?
That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, I guess we've had it at some gold bases, like weird stuff like that.
Oh,
That's
maybe,
almost,
yeah.
I don't know if you really count that as a proxy hatch or more of like, a quick rabbit and expansion to try to accelerate an advantage here.
Probably that, yeah.
So going into this, I mean, I think it's a very likely 2-0 here for Rogue. If it's anything other than a 2-0, it's going to be a big surprise, and it could make for a very interesting story here for RagnaroK.
Yeah, and every map, by the way, really matters here.
Right.
So very important for both players.
2022 GSL Season 1. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue. Alpha X, RagnaroK.
Okay, let's get into this. I mean, again, you look at a player like RagnaroK, he's very good. He's consistently in GSL, but to compare him to Rogue, I mean, Rogue is basically the best Zerg we have in this region, and on some days, probably one of the best Zergs easily in the world.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously RagnaroK, this should be a hard game for him. This should be a hard match for him. Rogue, well, Rogue is basically always a favorite of everything, so.
By the way, guys, we got an audience here today.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's a small one. It's kind of trippy, man. I mean, even though the majority of this show has been with a live audience. It's so cool to have stuff in Seoul kind of coming back to normal. Things are starting to stay open late. You can gather with more people. You know, Omicron was burning through the country for the past few weeks. It still is. But yeah, those of you who made it down here, welcome. And those of you watching at home, our studio's open.
Yeah.
Unless we say otherwise, come on down. Somebody asked me earlier if there's ticket prices. I actually don't know. Do we charge tickets?
GSL is not charging for tickets.
Okay.
So
okay.
It is free to get into GSL.
But I think even
when
on
ASL has tickets, I believe it is $5 still or something.
Yeah,
like
it's basically just enough so that, you know.
You don't just steal seats or something.
Yeah, yeah. But we can't operate still at full capacity.
The $5 for a ticket for like ASL is basically like, you know, the fly they put in a urinal?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. It's so you don't pee on the floor.
Yeah, so you don't book a spot and then not show up at all. But we can't operate at full capacity yet, so there's a limited number of seats. So if you do come, my advice would be come early and you know, find a spot that can be yours, and then you can enjoy the entire evening.
Mm-hmm. Maybe like those people at the water park who get there first thing and put their towel on the chair.
That's right, yeah. When you go to the pool and
yeah.
you take your towel out and put that right in the best seat.
You know, people do that at playgrounds here as well. Like on the weekend, some of the big playgrounds get like really packed, and then you'll just see people's like stuff like sitting on a bench to try to claim it. You know what my favorite thing to do, Tasteless? Is sit down next to someone's jacket on a bench. Because screw you in stealing a seat here.
Yeah, that's funny.
No one paid to come to this park. You don't get this bench because you put your jacket on.
You throw your collateral there.
God.
So, you know, earlier on in this tournament, we saw RagnaroK, you know, do a lot of proxy hatches, and you know that's in the realm of being a little bit sneaky, a little bit cheesy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, but not always, but sometimes, you know, players that do that, we can kind of conclude that they're not confident in their late game, and that's not always the case. But I kind of wonder with RagnaroK, maybe that is the case for him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he seemed semi-confident during that interview. One thing we should note is that he just picked off an Overlord for Rogue, which I think is pretty impactful here because he is going for an all-in here, right?
Yes.
Like it's 2 base, he's got his Ro.10, he has speed on the way for his Lings. He's making a lot of Zerglings right now. He has this walled off. But I think that Rogue's build is actually quite strong here. He's getting Carapace, a lot of Lings off his 3 hatches, and he is making a Ro.10. So I think that this is, it looks better for Rogue right now, but RagnaroK is getting a Baneling Nest. So it, like, I think he's not going to make any Roaches. He's just going to go like all in with Ling Bane.
Yeah, this whole setup at the entrance is to try to, it's there to throw Rogue off. So we're going to see if this works. I mean, this rush is about to activate, and we're going to see these Lings just explode out here. And probably targeting either the natural or the third base here of Rogue. Where Rogue has been watching carefully, but, you know, he's almost trying to punish the fact that, you know, Rogue would be so observant here. So, you know, out of nowhere, these Lings come out. In this game, RagnaroK actually investing quite a bit in faking this, you know, getting missile attack, getting a Roach Warren and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's going to come up here, and for now, it looks like Rogue is going to abandon the position over here with these, with the hatchery, as there's just no way for now, at least, to recover that. Now, there's a Baneling's nest that's been made, and Banelings are now hatching over here. And these Lings for Rogue are in a very inconvenient position. He decides to, instead of committing to the third base, running over here into the natural, but it's blocked off. So he's going to come back and try to hit the third now.
Yeah, really good micro on both sides. Wow, comes very, very close there. And Rogue being very smart as well. He's just giving up this hatchery as he really does need to. Going into Roaches himself, and you know that's going to be his defense against those Banelings. But one thing RagnaroK did during this is he actually got +1 range, so he's going to be able to make a transition here into Roaches as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought this would have gone a little bit better here for RagnaroK. I mean, it sort of works so far. He did get rid of the hatchery, but you kind of need to do more than that because already Rogue is basically in a recovery mode here. Once again, a kill on that hatch, by the way, not a cancel. Another little victory there. And can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why, did you have a problem, Tasteless?
I think Artosis accidentally turned off our microphones with his foot.
I kicked the button.
All right, production, don't
My
worry.
little legs were just kicking out,
Yeah.
man. I was so excited. Like, whoa, RagnaroK has his hatchery finishing.
When the gamers attack each other, Artosis can't control himself, so
Yeah.
he kicks his legs around and claps his hands.
My limbs just flail.
Yeah, yeah.
I get so excited in these ZVZs. It really is the best matchup.
I want to point this out. That's the first time that's ever happened in 12 years of us doing this.
Yeah.
But it's that easy to actually shut off all of our audio
Yeah,
here.
I guess so.
Yeah. Wow.
I have a lot of power now that I didn't know about before. You better watch out. I might be abusing that in the future.
You ever just decide to quit, you just hit that button down there.
I hit that button and leave.
Yeah, walk out.
Like, oh, they never figure out how to fix that. Okay, let's take a look at where we're at. RagnaroK has his third up, and he actually has double Evos going. He's going to get well ahead as far as Roach upgrades go. He's up a couple workers also. Tasteless. It looks good. Like, this was a good transition from him.
Yeah.
We must give credit where credit is indeed due. And that Ling Bane attack he did was quite strong. It knocked down the hatchery, and it feels to me like he is in a better position right now.
Yeah, you know, it's so far it seems to have worked out pretty nicely. The thing is a player like Rogue, I mean, he's pretty tenacious, so we got to see if Rogue can actually, you know, get back ahead here. And even though I think RagnaroK's position is pretty good, I don't think it's like a huge advantage. You know what I'm saying?
I think that it is possible for sure for Rogue to fight his way back. Like you can see here, he has like a little bit more army supply and everything, but I like the upgrades better.
Right.
Or RagnaroK, you know, generally the range attack is going to scale better than Carapace.
Right.
But we'll see as the game goes later and later. Like, as long as Rogue can keep his supply up sufficiently to not die, we get later and later into the game. And Rogue is absolutely one of the best endgame Zerg vs. Zerg players in the world.
Yeah.
Like, he can play Lurker Viper better than RagnaroK, that's for sure. I would be shocked if RagnaroK thinks he can beat Rogue in that situation.
Okay, some Lings got to come up here, see if they can come in and get any damage. Nobody's really expanded enough to where there's any kind of weak point right now. So it's a little bit of a waiting game, but there's going to be fourth bases inbound here in a little bit.
Yeah, they're both going to be maxing. And now you see the Ravagers being added in, which is pretty standard for when you get this high in supply and Roaches. You know, they're obviously not all going to be able to shoot. You may as well get some Ravagers in there. The upgrades continue. And I'm just sitting here waiting for Infestation Pit or Hydralisk Den. I think we're past Spire time.
I
we'll
think
see
so.
any of that.
This is not a really great angle to attack in here for RagnaroK.
No.
He should have a little bit of an upgrade advantage, but that arc kind of does matter, especially in Roach versus Roach. And so we just saw the supply plummet here, 157 to 180.
Yeah, I think he thought he was further ahead than he was there. I think he thought he was going to be up a fair amount of army supply, and he just was not.
Yeah, well, and also, you know, we saw the Lings at the bottom try to flank, but I think he very much overestimated his position.
Yeah.
And now Rogue is going to expand out and continue to balloon his presence on the map. Well, maybe there's going to be a small delay here with this, but not for that long.
Yeah, the Lings are not going to be doing that great of a job at this point. Burrow and Burrow movement for RagnaroK. So it looks like he probably wants to stay on the Roaches a little bit longer, a little bit more Dark-esque from the old ZVZ days in his style. Definitely a Roach boy right now. But Rogue, we haven't actually seen the addition of anything else yet. Just the +2 missile. There it is, the Infestation Pit. All right, so Rogue is getting ready to go into that next area of tech.
Yeah, and Rogue's going to be putting the pressure on over here, and I don't know if the game's going to end soon, but it does feel like right now Rogue could probably smash any of these. Well, I guess there's actually one base that's on the exterior here, like this one up at 12 o'clock. And, you know, he's now at the point where he's starting to bank a lot of minerals, a lot of gas, which means the moment that he starts to have supply drop off, it's going to immediately spike back up with all the larvae he's got banked.
Yeah, the Hydralisk Den coming right up here. A couple Roaches going off to the side to get picked off. We don't see the Hive yet here for Rogue. He does start a bunch of spines, though, so I think, yeah, he obviously sees those drilling claws. And gonna start preparing for that with these spines. You know, the thing I do like Zergs that get this, when you have this many roaches, I don't see a reason not to get burrow and burrow movement. But here's the thing. I feel like a lot of the Zergs that go for that try to do it too much for too long.
Yeah, I know
like,
what you
use
mean.
it a little bit, but, you know, you do need to go up to Lurker eventually here. You're not going to... Like, the odds of you killing Rogue with this seems low to me.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to have diminishing returns over time.
Yeah.
Now RagnaroK's coming here with a couple small little attacks to try to get Rogue out of position, but oh man, it seems like actually a bit of an overextension there. This is really good angling right now for Rogue here.
Yeah, he hits some insane vials on that very thick army.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's a bit of a trade here, but honestly, I feel like Rogue is controlling this extremely well, pulling the Ravagers back, continuing to do a great job with these vials, and even though both of these players have lost huge amounts of their army, you can see the supplies are very high. Well, the minerals and gas have gotten pretty low. RagnaroK actually in a pretty good spot, though. I mean, he can umbro these roaches and try to kill off some more drones, and you know, this damage really does begin to add up. It's pretty hard to actually keep track of those brood roaches when they're moving through your base like that, especially when you have so much pressure coming on from the front here.
For sure. And the thing is, though, I think that Rogue, like, he has a big enough army that as long as he takes the fights well, like, I would like to see him back up into that choke and take a little bit of a better concave, utilize those rallies as well. But RagnaroK's starting to get the damage done a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, he's starting to do some work here. Rogue is fighting back pretty hard, but definitely a lot of pressure right now on Rogue. He's still at 60 workers to 56, so despite those drones that were killed off, and I didn't see the worker count earlier, but they were either remade very quickly or he had so many more workers that he's not going to be feeling the pain of this anytime soon.
Yeah. And, I mean, right now we actually have, like, all the lurker upgrades coming to adaptive talents and all that. So eventually we're going to see Rogue pop out a few Hydras, make lurkers, and then suddenly these attacks are going to be, like, mega shut down. He's going to have a very hard time getting in. And sometimes when you get someone that's this much of a roach boy, they are just going to try to bile everything down. Which, I mean, we've seen Dark try that so many times, and it's just, it doesn't seem to be that effective against the lurker play.
You know, it's subtle, but it's worth pointing out. Down here at 6 o'clock, you could see that both the gases have been taken for Rogue, whereas RagnaroK has not taken his 2 gases here, and this is going to have implications later on in the game with tech and, you know, the ability to develop. So as much as these, you know, little roach Ravager skirmishes matter, the follow-up tech and what you can do after that is going to be very much advantaged to Rogue here.
Well, here's the thing about it. You say as much as these matter. I think that these are like high school sports. Like, it matters right when you start them, and then if you keep doing them, it's like, dude, come on, you know, you're 30 now. Like, you got to do something else here. You got to get into your lurker tech. And Rogue is doing that, but RagnaroK's still trying to live his glory days, and it's like, he just keeps making roaches.
He's in his...
Is he going to break him with roaches, do you think?
He's in the basement with a letter jacket on, Artosis.
He is, yeah.
Oh, force cancel over there.
Still has his ex-girlfriend's sweatshirt right now, Tasteless. He's
still
wearing it while he runs around these roaches, and it's just... It's like, oh man, like, what are you going to do when lurkers come?
He's still got that photo on his wall of when he was prom king.
And
he's still wearing his class ring, and it's like, you're 50. What are you doing?
Oh, boy.
Did you have a class ring in school?
I'm sure that there was one.
I didn't get one.
Dude, I didn't even get a yearbook.
You didn't get a yearbook?
No. Why would I get a yearbook, Tasteless?
I don't know.
None of them even played StarCraft.
Dude, I just remembered. Oh, this is crazy. I just remembered this. And one of my high school yearbooks, they were like, you could put a quote.
Yeah.
In for your picture.
Tell me you said for ire.
I said StarCraft ruined my life. I'm not kidding. Oh my God, I gotta go find this yearbook now.
That's amazing.
Oh, if I can find that, maybe I can call my school. Oh, that has aged very well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this game seems to be getting...
I wish I had that foresight.
Yeah. I gotta say, RagnaroK's actually playing pretty well right now.
Yeah,
you can start to see the hurt come on here for Rogue.
It's really peaking up there a bit. And now that he lost the Roach Warren, it's getting a little bit more tricky here. He's going to have this little period of time where he can't really replace. And, like, RagnaroK needs to go for the kill right now, I think.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm really impressed with RagnaroK this game. You know, he played a very different game in the round before this, in the round of 20. But it looks like he is gonna come out and close this out.
Yeah.
And we were wrong, man. The guy who's still in the high school era, he wins. The jocks win.
No,
that's the terrifying truth of this, guys. The jocks win. That's our
that's a
takeaway
sad
of this gamer
truth that
TV
we've
show.
actually known forever, Taste, because StarCraft ruined our lives. We try to act like they didn't win, but they did.
Yeah, no, they did. They're we laughed at them for playing sports, but they're in better health now, and you know.
Yeah, no, Rogue is dead. GG.
Meanwhile, our doctors are telling us we need to walk around more. Yeah, like, guys, the jocks won there. Don't tack into lurkers. Don't do
like,
that.
Do you eat anything green? I'm like, what, like boogers? No, okay, so, I mean, RagnaroK ends up winning with the Ro Ravager, man. Like, he got in, Rogue gets out of position a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm actually a bit surprised by Rogue because he had the lurker den up forever and he never had a lurker finish. Like, during all of this defense, if he literally gets like 2 lurkers, man, like just make 1 Hydra instead of 10 roaches, make 9 roaches and a Hydra, and then guess what you do with that Hydra? You turn it into a lurker, and then guess what? Suddenly the battles, your lurker is dealing like 800 damage during, okay?
Yeah, lurker damage is pretty good.
I think he really should have tried to squeeze a couple in there, and he just kind of stayed on the Ro Ravager, and hey, you know what? RagnaroK wins that first map, so maybe he is the greatest gamer.
I think he might be the greatest gamer, man. We're going to go on to Hardwire for map 2. The ZVZ continues on.
2022 GSL Season 1. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue. Alpha X, RagnaroK.
Can't believe RagnaroK won that. We were trashing on his lack of teching, but we were wrong.
Well, yeah.
And everything in high school matters. That's actually the only important time in your life.
Don't get it on your permanent record.
Yeah,
That's the important lesson.
You know, that's our takeaway here.
You know what I was just thinking about, Tasteless? Like, I was just like, for some reason, I started thinking about StarCraft 64.
Uh-huh.
And
you mean true Starcraft?
The real
That was
StarCraft.
the way the game was supposed to be played.
Yeah, I know. Keyboards and mice, it's for typing? Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing? That doesn't even make sense.
That's for moving through
Controllers
Excel
are for
spreadsheets.
games.
Yeah.
Okay? Controllers and cell phones
You
are
call
for
yourself
games.
a gamer, but you play with a keyboard and a mouse? Welcome to the studio. We love you, too. So cool to have an audience here again. I don't know. It's like the energy in the studio changes, you know?
Well, there is energy here. Instead of us sad mopes, you know? Like,
yeah. Instead of just like, it's weird when we do this show and there's no audience, you know, because of the COVID stuff, and it's like just dark and quiet.
Oh, dude, the Jomshill studio is #1 for that, where it's hilarious, like when there's no audience there.
Oh, yeah.
Walk in there, it's like, it's just very dark and very big.
Yeah, it's just weird and quiet. TV sets are weird without audiences. They really are kind of these kind of eerie, creepy environments where everybody's super quiet and there's a bunch of people focused in on screens and you know, you get the
it's
energy.
like my house.
Yeah. it's my house at night, man. No, but, you know, you get an audience down here and people are having fun and making their evening out of it, coming down here.
Still a little bit surprised that RagnaroK took that down. Like, he got the lead after his nice Ling attack, the nice transition with the third, canceling the third of Rogue and everything. But the Rogue was teching very well, like slowly but steadily. Yeah. Anyways,
well, you know, being a GSL caster, man, I've casted so many games of Rogues where he just always wins that if it seems like he's losing, I just assume I'm not seeing something.
Yeah, it's safe with some players like that.
Yeah.
Maru's the king of that.
Yeah.
No matter what position he's in, I never say he's going to lose.
Yeah,
That's how you get yourself into trouble on Reddit thread, Stasis.
Yeah, yeah.
LOL, you didn't notice that Maru 40 supply down was ahead?
But, you know, an interesting start there for that game with RagnaroK. I'm curious to see what other games he's going to be delivering for us here today.
Well, that was very well prepped. And all the matches we saw in the previous round were really well prepped. And maybe that's going to be what his superpower is now, right? Because he hasn't had the greatest results. He's had some, like, okay-ish results over the years, but never anything really to speak of. But this season is already looking like it might be one of those.
Could be.
Like,
I think you're right.
Well, I mean, he did very well in his group, and it was all really well planned with those proxy hatches literally every game. And here he is against Rogue, and his Ling Bane attack was really well planned out, and the transition was really well thought out. I do still feel like he stayed on Roach Ravager too long, but then he won with it. So you know what? It doesn't matter what I think, because he gets the victory there. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of exciting because it's different from what we're used to. You know, a lot of these guys that are doing very well nowadays are just mechanically so strong.
Yeah.
That it's like, yeah, look at that. Maru can do more than everyone else. Isn't that cool?
He is just faster. Oh, nice catch on that queen. That's pretty big. One queen goes down, takes a little engagement with these Lings over here by the ramp, only to come into the main and try to get some drones. Oh, maybe not. Just loops around. And this is going to start to pile up. I mean, Lings are just inbound and endlessly coming out right now. For Rogue here, another queen's going to go down, and Roaches are going to come in here, and we actually could see this game spiral into a loss right now for RagnaroK.
For sure. Banelings come out, and
I
mean,
and a big
Banelings and Lings of his own, as well as these Roaches, it seems like, I mean, I can't imagine this being anything but a kill.
Yeah, this is over, man. The Banes are going to connect on the drones, and this game's going to be tied up 1-1 as he's going to take this Banelings nest out and mute any more tech from RagnaroK. Yeah, Rogue fighting back with a very different and an aggressive style here. GG, we're tied up 1-1.
All right. Well, Rogue will do that to you sometimes. The guy can turn on a dime, man, like right into aggressive builds. Absolutely no emotion coming out of Rogue there.
Yeah.
RagnaroK eating his bottom lip a little bit.
Bit of a lip muncher. Yeah. I do that myself. Well, that was a kind of harsh reminder of who he's up against, you know. Rogue can play defense all day in game 1 and barely lose, and then come in with a super aggro build and run you over in game 2.
Yeah, but what can we see in game 3? That's the big question.
That's the question. Well, I got news for you. We're going there, dude.
Oh, dude. That's exactly what
No stone unturned today, Artosis.
I think we should save game 3 for week 2, Group A.
I think we should have each set of the players only play the first 2 games.
Well, I think games 1 and 3, but 3 won't count if you lose the first 2. But the same game's played on the next week. It's really crazy.
Okay, game 3's ready. Let's go. Glittering Ashes is our map.
2022 GSL Season 1.
I'm a rebel for life.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue.
Don't be a rebel for life. Grow up, dude.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
true.
true.
You're going to be a rebel at 60? That's not cool.
No, that's not. No,
Alpha X, RagnaroK.
Listen, eventually you just have to become part of the machine, all right?
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, okay?
Listen, pay your taxes, get a portfolio made.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see another aggressive game from either of these guys. I feel like, you know, the moment that RagnaroK tried to play like, you know, a tempo game where he's just going to try to stay ahead and scout and see what's going on, it did not go well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to just try to take control of a game by being aggressive early on here. Oh, didn't get to read the sign, sorry.
Yeah, I lifted it too high, though.
Too high. It's okay.
It was too quick and too high.
Look at on camera again. You know what? Maybe it's the cameraman's fault. Probably. They're not
partially, at least.
Well, don't worry, they're not listening
Production
to this.
as well. They're the ones that press the buttons. They could have kept it on there the whole game. We could have read that sign 3-4 times.
It's not me because of my, you know, I can't read fast. So.
Yeah. If you had photographic memory, you could tell us what it said right now, but apparently you don't, Tasos.
No, yeah. Anybody who's seeing this casting of ours knows that we definitely don't have photographic memories.
Well,
Yeah.
We have photographic memories. They're just wrong. Like, no, I remember Tasteless.
Yeah. I'm actually excited that RagnaroK actually took a game though in this series.
Yes,
you know.
He might take the whole series. Who knows? Let's see what he goes with. Like I've liked all of his planned out games have gone very well so far.
Right.
Reactive macro is such a different thing than a planned out game though, and I feel like we don't have that many planners in StarCraft 2. I think it might have to do with the amount of games you have to play, and I think most of the planners are probably Protoss players.
I think historically, yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of throwing that out there as an idea, right? Because, like, I mean, a lot of thought has to go into a planned out game, and we've seen beautiful planned out games in the past.
Where
from
really
every race,
you're going to go for just like a macro game. It's really about like endurance and kind of trying to get a read as much as possible and play it out from there.
So Lings harassing the thirds while Queens walk to them slowly, both sides. Banding Nest coming up.
And we don't know yet if anybody's going to pull the trigger and start to be aggressive, but we're going to be getting close to those moments in a little bit here.
Rogue got the creep tumor. That's pretty sick, actually.
Yeah, nice little victory there.
Look at that, RagnaroK wanted the creep tumor, and Rogue just didn't even make it.
Yeah.
The little things, I like it. Not much feels worse, I think, than losing that first creep tumor. Ling coming in for a full scout. Beautiful scouting job there.
Yeah, we're just waiting to see, you know, where the forks in the build are going to go. We've got the armor upgrade coming out for RagnaroK, where it's going to be melee attack right now for Rogue to start this off. And the Ro.10 started a little bit earlier here for Rogue.
What's that tall green and red building there, Tasteless?
Where?
Now green and blue over here in this choke.
I actually have not seen what you're saying. Can you point it on screen?
That right there.
Yeah, what is that? I don't know.
That right there.
You keep
I'm
pointing,
not
but
being
then it
able to
moves.
point quick enough,
just,
man. The observer's too fast. I'm trying to test something.
Now, it's been a much more passive game for both these guys, but I don't think we're going to see any action until we see, you know, these upgrades start to finish, and there's a moment where it seems like you could comfortably try to attack out and try to do something.
I mean, good scouting on both sides. And here we have the giant plume of Lings coming out of RagnaroK. Of course, he's getting the carapace. Melee actually being researched here from Rogue. Kind of interesting there, the melee attack. Why is he getting melee, do you think?
I don't know.
Like, we've seen melee occasionally, like a long time ago,
I mean,
but
it definitely means you're going to have to do something early on to do damage, right? Because if you're going to get missile attack, that's going to go more nicely into late game here. Huge connections over here on these workers. Big victory there for RagnaroK. But Rogue's still with a worker lead, it's worth pointing out. Whenever you see these attacks come down and it looks like, oh, that was great, and then you realize he's still ahead in workers, it's like, okay, well, Rogue's doing something right.
Yeah, yeah, and actually we see now what that +1 melee is all about. He's actually going into Spire here, so Rogue going to play a very different game. Kind of like it. He does have some roaches out here, so that can actually maybe cover the fact that he's going Spire a little bit as well. And with the lateness of this layer, it's not like you're going to have an Overseer fly in and scout this out. So this Spire, I actually really like this from Rogue.
Yeah, this could definitely trip up the RagnaroK here if he's not entirely ready for it, especially because right now he seems to be in a position where he probably thinks he is in total control of the game. You know, having these engagements and getting these little victories out of that.
Do you think he thinks he has enough roaches to really... Yeah, I guess he does, because he's moving out.
Yeah, he's going.
But, I mean, when you see your opponent start making roaches, sometimes you think, you know, like, okay, well, now we're both in the roach macro phase.
Right, we're in this, like, roach arms race. That's a lot of Banes. Okay, so this could actually go either way. I mean, none of these units can attack air, right? So the mutas, you know, they're a real threat, but at the same time, this might be so much damage. Okay, so what Rogue's going to do, to answer my question, he's going to just sandbag the entrance.
Absolutely.
He's going to barricade himself off and try to hold on because he knows the mutas are the ace up his sleeve. And just the behavior here from Rogue should be a big giveaway as to what's coming, that there's some kind of tech that's going to come out here. And I don't know, man. I mean, this is a lot of roaches and a lot of lings.
Yeah, you're right.
And the Banes really just tore that entrance down.
Yeah, the Banes helped out so much, and he is starting to destroy everything. As soon as the units on the ground are gone for Rogue, he's going to start losing a lot of drones.
Yeah, and there's nothing to keep them safe, and there's not really that many places to hide them either. 20 are down so far, and it looks to me like there's a very high chance that RagnaroK could just end this game. The mutas come out too late and not enough to defend over here on the ground for Rogue.
Yeah, he's losing a lot. Now, you can come back sometimes with a Mutalisk build if your opponent doesn't have any defense, but in this situation with only 22 drones, it seems very difficult to make anything happen. I think RagnaroK can just keep on like sending a few units across and making him play defensively, and what do you do from there?
Yeah, Ro.10 goes down. Did he get the pool? The spawning? Oh no, it's still alive over there. But, I mean, you can't even get across the map and do any damage because you have to defend these workers. So, I mean, right now, Rogue has been rocked. I think he's moments away from being KO'd here.
Yeah, I think so. Like 13 mutas. Okay, I mean, you can do some. He's leaving some mutas at home. So let's see what he can get done with this. He's going to, you know, hit some of these lings on the way over. These mutas at home going to try to slow them down, but look at that. The split up, very smart from RagnaroK. I tell you what, man. RagnaroK is impressing.
He's killing it, man. I mean, we're starting off on a very exciting note here. I mean, I think he's going to win this. Unless these mutas can do an absurd amount of damage. I mean, Rogue is limping through this game. And again, you know, you get drone counts low enough, it's very hard to actually come back from that. You know, you need to build up a certain amount of workers to have that kind of income where you're, you know, it's like the start of any, I guess it's always best illustrated like in StarCraft 1 because you have such few workers.
Yeah.
But, you know, it takes a while before you can do anything other than make workers, right? That's why most builds are optimized to always have workers flowing out, and then you plug in all your tech and your expansions along the way. But yeah, I mean, Rogue was down to what I think was about 20 workers earlier on, you know, which isn't that much more than what you start out with in the game, you know.
Well, he is working back a little bit, and you know he's remaking that Spire now. There is a Spire being made as well for RagnaroK, so it seems like RagnaroK wants to just go into his own Mutalisk as a counter. But Rogue sees that now. You know what? Rogue actually, he might be able to win this.
Well,
like, seeing the Spire on RagnaroK's side takes all the surprise out of it.
Yeah, it's one of these moments where you want to fight fire with fire. But if you see that what they're going to do is try to counter you with their own mutas, you're already ahead in the Mutalisk arms race. So, like,
well, he's making 15 right now. How many does Rogue actually have right now? Do we know? I think RagnaroK's about to pop more than Rogue has, but Rogue's going to be able to pop a bunch as soon as his Spire finishes. So, yeah, that's... And, I mean, his worker count is in the lead now. Wow, this is kind of wild. It really felt pretty bad for Rogue there for a little bit. Now, he has to be careful at these mutas coming by. Look at that.
Yeah, a lot of overlords on the map. I mean, this is typical if you go for mutas, is you're going to have map control, and you can defend your overlords, but... he's not even going to worry about the overlords from now. He kind of wants to go for the jugular here. He's going to come right up. And what, it's 16 to 13, but, you know, with queens there, the math gets a bit more fuzzy. I think that Rogue can hang on for a little bit longer here.
Yeah, and he's popping out his own now. Look at this. It's 20 against 15, and I think RagnaroK, by switching into Mutalisks here and getting it scouted...
He bungled this.
He did. I think he bungled it.
He's a bit of a bungle gamer.
He lives in a bungalow.
Bit of a bunglebee.
A bunglebee.
Yeah. My favorite Transformer, Bunglebee.
Bunglebee! Oh my god.
Yeah. I can't believe that I think Rogue's going to win this.
My favorite Transformers, Bungleless Prime.
What were the names of the Transformers? There was Optimus Prime.
Bungletron.
Bungletron. GG. Okay, well that's why Rogue is a better gamer than you and I, and
Dude.
also Ragnarok.
No, that was a weird series, man. Like, it felt like Rogue would win game, the Roach game 1, and then it felt like Ragnarok would win game 3 there. After he got him down to like 22 drones, and Rogue had to leave 5 mutas at home and send 8 mutas across the map, and you know he was down to like 20 drones there.
I don't feel like that's the way he needed to play. Like nothing mandates.
Oh, for Ragnarok?
Yeah.
I think he was looking, because he killed the Spire. So I think he's like, more mutas kills less mutas. But Rogue just remade the Spire. He scouted
Rogue
it.
committed to his tech.
Yeah, which I think was actually probably the best play. So certainly some mistakes there from Ragnarok, but an interesting series.
Guys, short break. We come back. Trap versus ByuN.